So my name is Vineet and I'll be the instructor for all of you today. As I told you, we'll be going through the Java overview and then we'll move on to the basic Java syntax that will be used while developing your Java applications. So first of all, what is Java? Let's have an introduction to Java, a history of Java. Java is the programming language and a computing platform. You can develop applications using it. Okay, it is a compile once and run anywhere language, that is, it is a platform independent language. Now, first of all, Java was first released by Sun Microsystems in 1995. And for your information, it was originally named as OAK and then it was renamed to Java Programming Language in the same year, that is 1995. And you'll be shocked that over 850,000,000 computers worldwide are using Java. Okay. Now let's move on. Let's see what this presentation has to say about Java. What is Java? Java is not just a programming language, but it is a complete platform for object-oriented programming. Okay, it uses the OOP concepts. You would have heard of it. That means it uses concepts like inheritance, polymorphism, encapsulation, overloading, overriding. These kind of concepts are used in Java, which are present in object-oriented programming. The other aspect is, in Java, everything revolves around object. Okay, you'll have to create an object in order to do anything. Every other thing is done using objects in Java because it is an object-oriented language. Okay. Now there are two things that are present in Java. First of all is the JRE. JRE is the Java Runtime environment. That is, whenever you have to run a Java application onto your systems, you need an environment for that. Okay, like we people live on this very earth. How is it possible? It is possible because we have an environment set up with oxygen, everything, food for our survival. So in order to run a Java application, you need an environment for it, that is the JRE. Now what does it include? JRE includes class libraries which provide application programming interface and JVM together from JRE. Second thing is the JDK. Now JDK actually helps you to develop Java applications. Whenever you need to develop a Java application, it is very important that you have a JDK installed onto your systems. Okay, even you guys want to be a Java programmer, so you also have to install a JDK onto your systems. Then only you'll be able to develop your Java applications. Okay. Now, it provides all the needed support for software development in Java. I hope you are quite clear with Java, JRE and JDK. Please write down on the chat window, each one of you, if you are clear with it. Okay, Nikhil says yes. Hardik, Yogesh, Sai, Vasil, Sara, Amol. Amol says, what is API? API is Application Programming Interface. Okay, the new versions, each and every version that are launched are different APIs. Roshan, Vikas, Ashraf, Rahiba. Mahesh says, please explain JRE once again. Okay, Mahesh, I'll do that. Now, as I said, you need an environment to run an applications, okay? So, when you develop a Java application, okay, there is a certain code, certain classes that are already defined which are used in that application. Now, if you run that application in some other system, then how will that application reference those classes? It needs a library to help it. Okay, so what you do, you actually make a package that is called the JRE. We term it as Java Runtime Environment. We install that thing onto your system. Now whenever you run that application will use those libraries that are present in JRE to perform its task. Is it clear to you, Mehvish? Okay, says thank you. And Rakesh says, so is needed always JDK? Yes, you always need a JDK in order to develop a Java application, Rakesh. So without JRE, can we run Java? No, Rakesh, you cannot run a Java application without JRE. So you'll always find a JRE onto your systems, okay? You would have seen it. Every browser is using JRE. Rakesh says, that's fine, you're welcome. Okay, Pranav says, please repeat JDK once. I'll do that. Now Pranav, JDK is for developing Java applications, okay? Even while developing, you need certain libraries to support your application. So for that, you install JDK, and after that you can start developing your Java applications. I hope I'm quite clear with these points. Let's move on. And we come to JVM. Now even I heard a question from someone. He was asking, what is JVM? Now JVM is Java Virtual Machine. Now before understanding JVM, we'll understand few things. First of all, when you develop a Java application, that Java application is actually the source code, okay, the normal Java language that you write, okay. Now once you write those Java source code, you compile that code using the Java C compiler. After compiling that after compiling that source code actually gets converted into a .class file. That .class file includes byte codes in it, okay. Byte code is actually an intermediary language. Now once it is converted into byte code, that application is sent to different systems using networks or locally, and after reaching there, it will be finding a JVM. Now what is a JVM? JVM is a machine dependent thing, that is every operating system has got a different JVM. Like for Windows operating system you have got a different JVM, for Mac operating system you have a different JVM, and for a Linux you have got a different JVM, okay. So it is a machine dependent thing, but there is a common thing between all the JVMs. The common thing is each and every JVM can understand byte code, okay. It can understand byte code, it can interpret byte code and convert it into the machine code, right? Now we were on that we have sent the byte code to different systems. Whenever that byte code reaches a particular system, it will find a JVM. That JVM will read that byte code and convert it into the machine language that particular machine can understand, okay. This way that Java application run on that system. And this is the component that actually makes Java platform independent. Platform independent means Java application can run on any operating system that is present in the world, because it has got a byte code, that is the intermediary language, and it has got JVM present on every operating system to run its application. So all of you, are you guys clear with JVM and the byte code? If you have any questions, you can put up. Please write down on the chat window. Vikas says I'm clear. Hardik says yes. Rakesh says yes. Sai, Vasil, Ankit, Sarah. Nikhil says, do we need to install JVM? No, you don't need to install JVM. It comes with the operating system. Yogesh says yes. Amol says, what does bytecode contain? Okay, bytecode is actually a predefined language. Okay, there are certain legal bytecodes. It contains mnemonics, okay. You do not have to, as a Java programmer, you do not have to go so deep. You should have an understanding that what is Java, what is bytecode, what is JVM, right? So I guess this would be enough for you to understand Java. Is that clear, Amol? Please write down on the chat window. Mohsin says yes. Mani says clear. Rakesh says, but still JVM will be there. Yes, JVM would be there to run your applications. Okay, Rakesh says, so if my machine I don't have Java or Cherry, but still JVM will be there. He says, okay, fine. Okay then, moving on. Now, let's see what is a bytecode. Java bytecode is the form of instructions that the Java virtual machine executes, as I told you. Now, a Java programmer does not need to be aware of or understand Java bytecode at all, because you just have to do the programming. You just should have an idea what is actually a bytecode, how Java is platform independent, but you do not have to go deep into bytecode as a programmer. The model of computation of Java bytecode is that of a stack-oriented programming language. Okay, you would have heard of stack, that is a data structure which follows the last in first out procedure. Okay, that is the last element that comes into the stack is the first one that can be taken out from that stack. Okay, So bytecode follows the same stack-oriented programming language pattern. Moving on, I come to garbage collection. Okay, now garbage collection is actually related to the memory management in Java. As a programmer, you're not responsible for memory management in Java because it is completely handled by our thread by JVM itself, and JVM actually has a thread which is called the garbage collector that does this thing. Now first of all, let's understand why we need to manage our memory. Now there is a part of memory that is actually allocated to JVM by the processor. Now in that memory, that JVM can create objects, it can do its different tasks, okay, just by using that limited amount of memory. Since the amount of memory is limited, it is quite important that we need to manage that memory, okay, because it will be filled very soon. So whenever an object is no longer used by the process or a program, then we should destroy that object. So it is done by the garbage collector, which is controlled by JVM. Let's see what the presentation has to say. The memory area in JVM where objects are created is called heap. Okay, that memory area is called heap. The memory is freed during runtime by a special thread called garbage collector. Now that JVM, as I told you, has a thread which is called the garbage collector, and for your information, garbage collector is also termed as daemon thread. Daemon thread, it is said as daemon thread because it destroys object, it kills object which is no longer used, so it is termed as daemon, right? The garbage collector looks for objects which are no longer needed by the program and destroys them. As I said, the object no longer used, which are no longer referenced by any program or process, are waste. So garbage collector goes and destroys all those objects, okay? So all of you, please write down in the chat window, are you clear with garbage collector and the memory management in Java? Everyone, be quick. Show me some energy, guys. Okay, I receive all the S's. Sai says, do we need to write any code for GC? No, Sai, you do not need to write any code for GC because you cannot directly control garbage collector. Now, on your question, I have a question for all of you. And the question is, will come right in front of your screen. The question is, which function can call garbage collector during runtime? Is it call.gc? Is it destroy.gc? Is it runtime.gc? You just have to click on the polling screen right in front of you and cast your answers. I request everyone to give your answers. Yes, Rakesh, you need to click on the polling screen and you are right. Okay, Sarita has a question, that is, how will I identify the object which is not linked up with any object or classes? You do not have to identify for that, okay? It is the job of the garbage collector. It will identify, and whenever it finds that object is no longer used, it will destroy that object. Okay, I hope it answers your query. Please write down. Okay, Amol says, how does garbage collector knows whether the object is needed or not? And Mani says, how does it know that the program is no longer required? Okay, now garbage collector actually checks for references. Okay, references means there are certain links attached to it. Some process is calling that object, so there is always a memory track for that. Using that, the garbage collector checks for it. If it finds that it is no longer used, no one is referencing that object, it will destroy that object. Does that answer your query, Amol and Mani? And Sarita, if it answers your query as well, please write down on the chat window. Okay, we have the answers now of the question that I asked, and 29% of the people says call.gc, 29 says destroy.gc, and 43 says runtime.gc, and I'd like to go with the audience, and the answer is runtime.gc. That's the correct answer. Now, if I say you can call your garbage collector thread using runtime.gc, that does not mean you can control it. The final control on garbage collector will always be of JVM. Okay, so let's move on. Let's try to understand with the help of a diagram right here. So this cloud actually represents that this is the memory that was allocated to JVM. Now within that, objects will be created and references will be there. There would be a link present between them. Now let's say this link was destroyed. Okay, the link got destroyed. After that, there was no link present between object and the reference. Now garbage collector comes and it will destroy both of the reference as well as the object. Okay, this way it will clear the memory, it will free the memory from the object, from the references which are no longer used by the application or the program. Now let's see how Java works. Okay, now you have already received quite a lot of information regarding how Java works, so let's understand it in a deeper way. Java compilers convert your bytecode from human readable to something called bytecode in the Java world. Okay, as I said, your source code, that is the .java file, gets converted into bytecode as soon as you compile it using the Java C compiler. Okay, now this bytecode is actually an intermediary language which is understood by each and every JVM. Bytecode is interpreted by a JVM which operates much like a physical CPU. JVM is a machine-dependent thing. It is present with each and every operating system, and every JVM can understand bytecode and convert it into the instructions that could be understood by that particular machine. Okay. Now, what is JIT? Just-in-time compiler is a program that turns the Java bytecode into instructions that can be sent directly to the processor. Okay. Now, JVM has got two things. One is the interpreter. The second thing is just-in-time compiler. Okay. Both of these things actually work side by side to convert the bytecode into instructions that could be understood by the machine. Okay, or the processor. Now, let's try to understand with the help of a diagram how does Java works. Now on a broader way, you can distribute the environment into two parts. One is the compile time environment and second is the runtime environment. Okay, in the compile time environment, you actually write an application, you write the code in Java, and that is the Java source code, which is the .java file. Like, my name is Vineet and I created a file that is vineet.java. That will be the source code. Using the compiler, that is the Java compiler, we convert the source code into the bytecode, that is the .class file. Okay. Now this .class file is moved to some other system by a network or locally. As soon as this bytecode reaches some other system, there it will find a class loader and a bytecode verifier. Class loader is like gatekeepers. Okay, it loads the class into the JVM. Once that is done, it also checks the bytecode verifier, because there are certain legal bytecodes that are defined which could only be used. If there are any other bytecode that is used, then it will actually term it as malicious code and it won't accept that. Okay, so it will load the classes and it will verify the code. Once that is done, it will come to JVM, the action point. In the JVM, you can find Java interpreter and just-in-time compiler. Now as soon as it encounters the bytecode, Java interpreter starts interpreting it. Interpretation means that the interpreter actually reads a line one by one. Let's say there are 10 lines in the bytecode, 10 lines of bytecode. So it starts reading from the first line. When it reads the first line, it directly converts it into instructions and send it to the processor. Okay. Then the second line, convert it and to the processor. Third line, fourth line, and this way interpreter works. Now what is the use of just-in-time compiler? Let's understand what is a compiler. As I said, interpreter reads one by one and send it to the processor, but a compiler will read all the 10 lines at once and then it will convert it into instructions and it will send the complete set of instructions to the processor finally. Okay. Now right here, interpreter, that is the Java interpreter, will read the bytecode one by one and send it to the system. When what is the need of just-in-time compiler then? It is actually required to speed up the process. I'll tell you how. Let's say Java interpreter is encountering a repeated code, okay, a redundant code. That is, it is using 10 lines of code again and again in the program, in the application. So what does Java interpreter do? It actually sends a request. It sends those 10 lines of code to the just-in-time compiler. This compiler will compile the entire 10 lines of code, and it will save that instructions into a cache memory. Cache memory is quite fast memory, so it saves it right there, and it is also a temporary memory. Now, whenever the Java interpreter again encounters that redundant code, it will directly fetch those instructions from the cache memory, and it won't interpret them. Okay, this way the process becomes faster, and finally when the entire bytecode is converted, your application runs on the operating system where you have sent your application. Okay, so all of you please write down on the chat window, are you clear with the process? That is the how Java works. Please write down on the chat window. Hardik says clear. Ashraf says yes sir, clear. Vasil, Sarita, Yogesh, Nikhil. Okay, Sai says please explain class loader. Okay, Sai, class loader are like gatekeepers, okay, of the JVM, controlling what bytecode may be loaded and what should be rejected. Okay, as a gatekeeper, you enter a house, there will be a gatekeeper. So if the gatekeeper does not allow you to enter, you cannot enter that house, right? Similarly, when you have to go to the JVM, there will be a gatekeeper. Now that it will check the bytecode. It will decide whether it could be entered, it could be sent to the JVM or not. So that decision is present on class loader and bytecode verifier on as a whole. They work together to decide this thing. Amol says, explain Java class library and JIT. Okay. Now, Amol, I don't think you need an explanation about Java class libraries, because in a similar way, why do you use JRE? So that you can use the libraries, right? Why do you use JDK? If you want to make application, you need libraries. That is the predefined libraries. Similarly, when you have to check the class, okay, it is the loader is checking what bytecode can be sent to the Java virtual machine, then it needs a data source to check that, right? So these Java class libraries is like a data source to them. Is that clear to you? Are you clear with the class libraries? If yes, then I'll move on to JIT once again. Sai says, okay, thank you. May I know what does it check for in the bytecode? It actually checks for the malicious bytecode, okay? It checks that whether the bytecode that is used is legal or not, okay, using the libraries. If it is not legal, if it is not present in the library, it is considered to be illegal, and that would be a malicious code. It won't allow it to enter that. Okay, Gulzar says, please explain the relation between Java interpreter and JIT. Umar says, is JVM specific to different machines? Yes, Umar, that is true. Okay, Rakesh says, now if Java interpreter changing in instruction, JIT is also doing the same things in complete line together. Can you explain more? Definitely. Okay, Gulzar and Rakesh has got a same question, so I'll explain it once again. I'll try to explain this using Paint. Okay, let's try a different method. I've already tried one, so let's try to understand with Paint. Okay, so I used green color. So first line of code, bytecode, second line, third line, fourth line, fifth line. Now after that there were few lines that is in red. Okay, only 3, and again comes green ones. Okay, this way code will go on, and what is happening, these 3 red lines, these 3 red lines are actually repeating again and again. Okay, in between they are coming always. Now once the interpreter starts reading, let's say this is the interpreter. Okay, this interpreter will start reading the lines, first this one, then this one, then this one, like this. Okay, now it will read. It read 3 lines. It reads the next 3 lines one by one and sends to the processor. Right here, going to the processor, going, third one also goes. Now finally, fourth one, fifth one, and the sixth one goes, right? Now, it comes again to these 3 lines of code. It finds that these 3 lines were already present in the starting. It is coming again. So this is a redundant code. Now comes the role of a JIT. Okay, I'll just mention it. This is JIT in some other color. This is JIT and this is interpreter. Okay, so that when you see the videos, all of you all are going to receive this video, the recording of the class. So that is why I'm mentioning it. You can go through it again. Now this is the interpreter. It finds that these 3 lines are redundant. It is getting repeated again and again. What it does, it sends these lines to JIT. Okay, it will send it to JIT, these redundant code. It comes here. This JIT will actually save. This is cache memory. Okay, it is a temporary but very fast memory. So it is the cache memory. It will change it into instructions and it will save it right here. Now it comes here. This interpreter will directly fetch these instructions here and it will not interpret them. It will leave it and it will finally leave this part. It will come onto this line again sees that interpreter will come here, fetch it from here, and it won't interpret it again. And it directly comes to this line. So this is the process. This is the relation between an interpreter and the JIT which is present within JVM. So all of you, are you clear with this now? Now the diagram is quite messy, but I guess it would be clear. You would have understood it now. Now since he says yes. Instruction JIT is also doing. Okay, I received quite a lot of yeses, and Amol says thanks sir, very nice explanation. Thank you, Amol. Okay, Omar says how does it remember that the set code has already been interpreted? It can check that. Okay, there are functionalities present in the interpreter. You do not have to go so deep, Omar. Okay, there's no need for JIT of Java interpreter. Now Mani says, sir, there's no need of JIT of Java interpreter is able to send the command to processor. There are no repeated lines. Now, like a function, okay, there's a method. So what happens? That method is called again and again in the program. So what can be done? That method can be compiled by JIT and saved it into the cache memory. Okay, so that is not true. Rakesh is okay, Nikhil says, does the code cache is created runtime or beforehand? It is done during runtime, Nikhil. Okay then, let's get back to the presentation once again and we'll move on to the next one. That is the basic Java syntax. Okay, here we'll be understanding first of all the data types, and then we'll move on to the operators and static and non-static variables. Now we come to data types in Java. We'll understand what are the data types that are actually supported by Java. First of all, what is data type? Data type defines the nature of a value. In a real world, you've got many kinds of values present. These can be a number, it can be a letter, alphabet, or any other kind of value. Now, how to use those values in your program, in your application? It is only possible by defining a data type. Okay, like for a number, you have got integer. For a alphabet, you have got a character. For long sentences, you have got strings. Okay, so using those data types, you can handle all the real world data that is present around you, so that you can process it and you can use it in different way in your application. So data types define the nature of a value. We need different data types to handle the real world information. Okay, we make applications to solve the real world problems, so we'll have to handle the real world information as well. So we have data types for that. Now The data types are like long, integer, short, byte, double, float, character, boolean. Boolean is for true and false, okay? So these are the sizes and bits for which these data types take in the memory to store. So let's move on, and we come to primitive types and non-primitive data type. Primitive data types are those data types which were used in the languages like C, okay? They were referenced from the classes, right? While you define a primitive data type, you do not need a new operator. That means that when you use the new operator to create a primitive type, you do not use it, okay? That is the value. Now, what is a non-primitive data type? Non-primitive data type are objects, okay? You'll be using a new operator whenever you define a non-primitive data type. So, on a broader way, you should understand that what is the difference between primitive and non-primitive as a programmer. Whenever you define a primitive data type, you won't be using a new operator. You can directly define it, and they were used in primitive languages, the middle layer languages like C language. There you'll be using the primitive data type, and whenever you define a non-primitive data type, you'll be using a new operator. You are creating an object for that, okay? Now, so I hope it is quite clear to you. Let's move on. And now we come to the naming convention of variables, okay? Mohsin says, so can we use C language in Java? As in a general way, you cannot use C language in Java, Mohsin, okay? Now, Java is said to be object oriented, but it is not completely object oriented because it uses primitive data type. That was the information I forgot to mention, okay? So Java is not completely, nor you can say not purely object oriented, since primitive data type is available in Java. It is used in Java. Let's try to understand now how to name the variables, the naming convention for a variable. But before that, I'd like to ask a simple question from all of you. Let's see how many of you can answer. JIT is a subset of. Is it of JVM or JDK? You just have to click on the polling screen and cast your answers. Rakesh gives me the answer here. Abhinav gives me the answer on the chat. All of you, please vote it on the screen that is present in front of you. Only 68% of the people have voted. So I request everyone to vote in. Rakesh says done. He has voted already. 75 have voted. What about the rest? Everyone, please give your votes. Give your answers. $82. Gulzar says submitted. Okay, we have the answers now. 91% of the people says JVM and 9% of the people says JDK. And the correct answer is the first one, that is the JVM, and it was a quite simple answer. The rest of you, those who have answered it wrongly or those who haven't answered, remember that JIT is a subset of JVM. That means it is present in JVM. Okay, let's get back to the presentation once again. Now, while naming a variable, Vivek says, hi sir, this is Vivek. Hello Vivek, I guess he joined in right now. Now, you can start with a letter, an underscore, or a dollar sign. These are the three initials with which you can name your variable. Either a letter from A to Z, it could be an underscore or a dollar sign. If you start at the name of the variable with a number, then that won't be a valid variable. It will provide you error. You cannot define that. That would be a compile time error as well. Okay. Now the examples right here: underscore valid, F valid, dollar is valid, I is letter valid, starts with G, it is completely fine, and starts with V, it is fine. But if you say you are naming your variable as numeric 2 and then something, then that would be a wrong naming convention. You cannot name your variable starting with a number. So it is a quite simple concept. I hope you are clear with it. That is how to name your variables. Okay. Now on this note, one question again. Okay, I was just waiting for this slide, and a very simple question for you, all of you. The name of a variable is known as its identifier, constant, data type, or base. You just have to click on the polling screen as you did the last time. So what do you think? The name of a variable is identifier, constant, data type, or base. %74 people have voted. What about the rest of you? Be quick, guys. 85. Now I need 100%. 89. Only 11% people left. 93. 7% to go. Anyone else who would like to vote? Okay then. We have the results now. 62% of the people says that the answer is identifier, 4% says constant, 27% says data type, and 8% says base. And again, I'll go with the audience, that is the identifier, 62%. Okay, and that's the correct answer. Now, the name of a variable is actually the identifier because you identify that variable using the variable name. Right, so it is always termed that the name of a variable is known as its identifier. Coming back to the presentation once again, we'll understand what is a statement in Java, what is a block. A simple statement is a command terminated by a semicolon. Okay, like name equal to Fred, you put a semicolon. Sai says, are Java variable names case sensitive? Yes, Java is a case sensitive language. So if you name your variable in a uppercase, then you'll have to use it as uppercase itself. Okay. Now, I was saying a simple statement is a command terminated by a semicolon in Java. Like name equal to Fred, you put a semicolon. So this is one statement. A block is a compound statement enclosed in curly braces, like you have got opening curly brace, you have got a closing curly brace, and within that you can have multiple statements. That is, you find one semicolon here, so this is one statement. You find the other one, this is second statement. So let's see. And the third point I missed, that is blocks may contain other blocks as well. Okay, that is, you have got one block, you can have another block within this block. So let's see on Eclipse. Okay, I'll just open the IDE, that is the software used for developing your Java applications. Now what is an IDE? IDE is integrated development environment using which you can develop your Java applications, you can develop your Android applications, and many other stuff, right? So this is your this is your Eclipse. I'll just go to file, I'll go to new, and here I'll find Java project. So I click on that. Here I'll mention the name of my project. So I'll write welcome for all of you, and underscore, since this is a Java class, I'll write Java. I click on next again, and then I click on finish. So we have got welcome underscore Java project already ready. I have a question that how to use this Eclipse, how to set up this Eclipse and JDK. Okay, I'll tell you on this note. So I'll just take you back to the LMS right here. In the first chapter, when you come to your LMS, in the first chapter, you'll find Java Environment Installation Guide. Okay, you can use this guide to install Eclipse as well as JDK. You'll find all the links in it. Okay, so just come to your LMS, that is of Java course, and there you'll find this Java Environment Installation Guide. You can click on that, you can download it. It is a PDF file, and reading which you can install your IDE. I hope it clears your doubt. Now in this, I'll just add a class in the source folder. I'll just right click. Mohsin says, and for Windows 8, Mohsin, you'll have to check it for that, okay, whether there is a version available for Windows 8 as well. I'm sure there would be one. Okay, just check it out. You'll have to use the link. There you'll find everything. If it is present on internet, you'll find it there. Okay, so I'll right click on this. I'll go to new. Here I'll add a class. Okay, Now you'll understand the concept of class everything in the later classes. So I'll just make a class, and within that I'll show you statements. So let's name this class on my name, that is Vineet, and I'll add a main method. Now what is a main method? This is a main method. Main method means that this is the starting point of execution of the application. Okay, whenever you run your application, it knows that it has to directly go to the main method, and what are the things that are present within the main methods get executed. Okay, so you have to mention the whatever you want to execute in your application, whatever functionality that you want to provide should be called from this main method itself. So we have made our class successfully. In that I'll write something like int x equals to 5. Okay, so I have declared a variable that is x, which is getting a value as 5. Okay, this is the value that it has received. It is storing the value 5. Now this is one statement right here. Because it ends with a semicolon, it is one line. This is one statement. After that, if I want to print this statement, if I want to print the value of 5, what I can use system.out println. So I'll write sy, and I just press control space. It will give me options, and I go to sysout, click on that, and I'll have my command, that is system.out.println. Okay, in that I'll just pass the variable that is x. Now I'll just save my file after this. Okay. Now, Hardik is, wants to understand what is this. Okay, now this main method is actually taking an array of strings. Okay, this is what you are passing as parameters. When you learn about methods in the next classes, you'll understand this thing. What is a parameter, what is a return type, and what is a method. Okay, I just wanted to explain right now that this is the starting point of your application. Okay, so don't you worry, in the next class you'll get your answer regarding this, because you won't be able to understand this right now. Hardik says okay. He says thanks, you're welcome. Now I've saved my file, and to run your file you can click right here. So you can see the result is 5 on the window. This is the console window where you'll be seeing the result. So the value of x was 5. I printed it on the screen and I find 5. Okay. Now to run your application there is a shortcut as well, that is control F11. Now I was telling that this is one statement, this is second statement, okay, and this is one block, opening curly brace and the closing curly brace, within which you can find two statements right here. That is, multiple statements can be placed within one block. Now we come to the second point, that is, a block can contain another block within that. So we can see another opening braces right here, and this brace ends over here. Within this block we have got another block that is right this. Okay, this one is the second block which is placed within the bigger block. It has got multiple statements as well. That means a block can contain multiple blocks within that as well as multiple statements within that. Okay, so all of you please write down on the chat window, are you clear with the concept of a statement and that of a block? Okay, Mani says, sir, is compiling done automatically by UID because it is used to have an option to compile first. Yes, the compilation is already done. Okay, you just have to use the shortcuts control F11, or you just have to click on the button and your application will be compiled and finally run. Okay. Okay, I receive all the essays, and Gulzar says thank you, sir. You're welcome. Mani says thanks. You're welcome, Mani. Let's move on, and I come to flow of control. Java executes one statement after the other in the order they are written. That is, the statement is trying to say that if there are 10 lines of code, first line will get executed first, then it will come to second, then third, fourth, fifth, sixth. if you want to test it whether this line is true or not, we'll just go to Eclipse. Okay, what I'll do, just remove this. Instead of printing X, I'll print 1. Okay, I'll just print numbers 1 to 10. I'll just copy this line again. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, and I'll change the numbers. Five, 6, 7, 8, 9, and finally 10. Okay. Now if that statement was true, that line was true, that Java executes one after the other in the order they are written, then we should receive in the output screen, that is, values from 1 to 10 in the ascending order. If that statement is not true, we won't receive that order. Okay, it could be any random order. So I'll just run the code now. I'm pressing Control F11. Okay, I receive 1 till 10, that is in the ascending order. That means Java executes its codes line by line, one after the other, as in the order, that is in the order in which they are written. Okay, so I hope you have quite understood the statement now, and you have also received a proof for that. Okay, you can tell someone that this is the way you can display that Java executes your statement line by line. Now we come to many Java statements are flow control statements. That is, you can alternate the flow of execution of a Java code using if else, switch. Okay, these are the control statements. We'll discuss them one by one. So these are called the basic constructs in Java: if else, nested if else. That is, more than one if else block present in if and else. Switch statement. So one by one we'll be discussing them. Mohsin says, can we use for loops and do loops here? You're regarding what, Mohsin? Yes, even loops also are used for alternating the flow of execution. Okay, we'll be covering loops in the next class, Mohsin. Now we come to if else first of all. Okay, we have got if keyword. Whenever you have to use if else syntax, you write if keyword, you pass the condition within that. Okay, now if the condition turns out to be true, if that condition is true, then this statement will be executed, or else it won't be executed. Okay, now if you see the else block as well, if it finds that the condition is not true in the if block, okay, if this condition is not true, it will directly go to the else block and it will execute these statements when the condition is false. So I hope you have understood how it works. If the condition is true, it goes to the if block, it will execute it, and it will leave the else block. If the condition is false, it will leave the if block and it will directly execute the statements that are present in the else block. Okay, so let's see in Eclipse how to implement your if and else construct. So I'll just remove these lines, or I'll just comment it for you, okay, because I'll be sending you the code as well, so that you can just refer it. I'm just commenting it. Now when you use this code, if you want to uncomment it, you can select the entire thing and press Ctrl 7. The shortcut is same for both commenting and uncommenting. Okay, it is multiple lines commenting right here. Now we are using if else. So what I'll do, I'll simply declare a small variable, let's say x equals to 5, and we'll check the condition whether x is less than 6 or not, or greater than 6 or not, like this. Okay, I hope you are clear with greater and less than. We'll be discussing operators as well in the later part of this class itself. So what you have to do, just write if, press Control space, and you find if and else statement. Okay, now it is asking a condition right here, so I'll place a condition like x is greater than 6. Okay, I'll mention this, x is greater than 6 if it is true. If the condition is true, then in the if block, what should be done? If the condition is true, it should print a statement. Now when you have to print a line that is a string, you have to put in quotes within that and write your statement within the quotes. So I'll write yes, it is true. Now we come to the else block. If the condition is not true, what I'll do, I'll print something like system.out. I'll write no, it is false. Okay, so we have these two things. I'll just save my file. Now all of you please write down on the chat window, if I run this code, what will be the result that I would receive in the console right here? What do you think will be the result when I run this code? I'll just show you this code. Okay, Mani says no, it is false. Amol says false. Ashraf says no, it is false. Sai says false. Yogesh says false. Wasel Mohsin says false. Nikhil says else block will get executed. Hardik, Mohsin, Pranav, Rahiba, and Abhinav says no, it is false. Okay, exactly correct. Vikas, Umar, Ankit, Abhinav, even I say that it would print no, it is false. Amir also says the same thing. So I'll just press Ctrl F11 and I receive that no, it is false. Now what is happening? In the last presentation, in the last example that we took, we understood that it executes one after the other. Okay, in order they are written. But what is happening right here? It is not printing the statement, it is directly printing this one. How it is done? It is done using if and else construct. Okay, you can alternate the flow of execution using if and else based on a condition. If the condition is true, it will print this part. If the condition is false, it will print this one. Right now the condition was false, so it directly jumped to the else part and it executed this one. Now I'll check the condition like x is less than 6. Okay, so this time it should execute only the if block, not the else one. So when I run this code, Ctrl F11, I receive yes, it is true. Right? It will not execute this one and it will directly come here. If you print, if you want to check it, just print a statement right here. I'll just write out of if else. Okay. Saving my file, I'll just run the code again. And I receive yes, it is true and out of if else. Okay. So what it does, it executes on the condition, it found it true, it executes if part, it skips this one and directly comes after the block. Okay, it executes the next statements. Okay, Amir, can you see on the screen what I did? I changed the positive number to a negative number. Amir had a question, that is, does it work if you have a negative value or zero value in if condition block? So I just changed the positive value to a negative value and it will work the same way. Okay, Amir? And he says yes, he has understood it. So all of you, are you clear with if and else construct? Can you all implement it? Ahmed Gulzar says yes, it will work. Sarita says how to execute the code in line by line. Now you are using if else construct so that you can alternate the flow, right? So if you want to use it line, it will execute each and everything that is present one after the other. Okay, Sarita? Okay, then I receive all the yeses that you can implement if and else construct. Let's get back to the presentation once again and we'll see the other one. We come to nested if else syntax. Okay, Sarita says okay, thank you, you're welcome. Now we come to the nested ones. Nested means one within the other. So if you want multiple if conditions, if you want to check multiple if conditions, what you can do, you can use else if. Okay, so what we are doing, if the condition is true, this one, then execute these statements right here. If it is not true, it comes again and it again checks the other condition, that is condition 2, and if it finds it to be true, then it executes this statement that is present in else if block. And even if it is not true, it comes to the else part now and it will execute these statements. Okay, so let's see how it is done in Eclipse. Pranav says NetBeans provide more shortcuts or Eclipse. I guess Eclipse. Okay, I haven't worked on NetBeans, but it is recommended. It is always said that you should be using Eclipse instead of NetBeans. It is a much better IDE. Okay, most of the developers use Eclipse. Pranav. Even for developing Android application, this is the IDE, that is Eclipse. Okay. So if after learning Java, if you want to move on to, if you want to drift to Android, then I would say that you should start programming on Eclipse itself. So it would be easier for you. Okay then, now I'll just comment the if part. Only this till here. I'll just, okay, I'll comment the entire one. Control 7. And I'll declare another variable which I can use in if nested if else conditions. I'll write count. Okay, let's say count equals to any number 8. Okay, I move down. Now I'll place if else first of all. If else statement. I'll check condition. Okay, instead of this I'll change it to condition 1 so that you can understand whenever you refer this code again. So I'll just copy it, control paste, and I'll change it to 10. And second variable would be condition 2. Okay, so we have got two conditions now. First of all, I'll check condition 1 is greater than 8. Okay, or greater than 7. Let's say 7 first of all. After that, I'll use one more thing, that is else if, right here. So I added a else if block. So this would be a nested if else. Okay, so I'm using a else if. I'll check the second condition. I'll write condition 2 is greater than 8. Okay, and finally the else block. If the first condition is true, what it should print, that is system.out.println, and it will print condition 1 is true. Is true. Okay, I'll just copy the entire line, control C, and I come here, control V, condition 1, and I'll change it, condition 2, change it to 2 is true. Okay, and if either of the conditions are not true, I want something like, it should print nothing. Okay, it will just print nothing. I'll just save my file. Now you know that condition 1 value is 8. 8 is greater than 7. The condition is true right here. When we come here, you also know that condition 2 is equal to 10. 10 is greater than 8. So second condition is also true. So now tell me, if I run the code, what will be the result that I'll see on the console window? All of you, please write down on the chat window. It is a bit tricky, but even then I request everyone to write on the chat, guess an answer if you do not know. Okay, so if I run this code, what will be the output that I would receive? Both the conditions are true right now, even in one and in the else if one also. Okay. Vasil says condition 1 is true. Mani says condition 1 is true. Pranav says all will be printed. Hardik says condition 1 is true. Pranav says printed all. Ashraf says condition 1 is true. Yogesh condition 1. Amol says condition 1 and 2. Amir says condition 1 is true. Sai says condition 1 is true. Mani says because we use nested if, it returns value and ignores rest. Okay. Sai says and terminates the loop. Abhinav says condition 1 is true. Mohsin says condition 2. Sarita says condition 1 is true. Ankit says all shows. Mohsin says, okay then. We have got all the answers and they are quite different, okay? So everyone has got a different view. I'll just run this code and we'll get our answer. I run this code. I see that on the window I can find condition 1 is true, okay? So as Mani said, he was quite precise, that is because we use nested ifs, it returns value and ignores the rest, okay? So what is happening? First of all, the primary condition is this one. If it finds that this is true, it will execute this statement that is present in this block, okay? And it will skip the rest of them. It will leave them. It won't print. If this condition is false, so I'll just change the condition now. Less than. Okay, I'll change it to less than now. I'll run the code. Condition 1 is 8. 8 is not less than 7. I run it. I find condition 2 is true. Okay. So what it is doing, if it is false, then only it will jump on to the second if statement and it will execute this statement right here and it will leave the else part. Okay. Even if in the second one, if your condition is false, what will happen? It will use the else part in the end. So I'll run this. Both the conditions were false, so it prints nothing that is present in the else block. So all of you, please write down on the chat window, are you clear with nested ifs, if, else if and else? Amir says maybe because it reads the code line by line and as it executes the first one, so it does not execute the next ones. Exactly, Amir, you are correct. Hardik says nicely explained. You're welcome, Hardik. Okay, my motive is that you should understand the concept, okay? So I guess it is quite clear to all of you. Let's say if I remove this. I remove the else block. Pranav says nice. Now tell me, if I remove the else block, will it give me an error? Will something happen? Amir says now after changing the code, it may print nothing as none of the conditions is true. Sai says no error. Hardik says error. He thinks that there is an error with this. Okay, I'll just run the code for all of you. Yogesh says error. Mohsin says don't know is quite truthful. Pranav says no error. So I'll just press Control F11. Okay, and you see nothing on the screen because both the conditions were false and there is no else block to handle it. So it won't print anything here. Hardik says if requires else. That is not necessary. Okay, what I'll do, I'll just remove else if as well. You can have a single if without a else block. Okay, so it will directly check the condition true, then do the thing. There is no else part. Okay. Nikhil says else can occur from 0 to 1 time. Exactly, Nikhil. Either else could be present or it could not be present. You can have many if statements. So all of you, are you clear with this part? Please write down on the chat window. Hardik says okay. Yogesh says yes. Sai says yes. Mohsin, Pranav, Lavi, Sarita, Roshan, Irfan, Abhinav. Everyone says yes. Okay then. So it's time to get back to the presentation once again, and I come to the switch syntax. Okay, this is other one and which is quite interesting construct available in Java. Now switch is something like you write switch statement, that is the switch keyword. Within that you pass within the parenthesis you pass an expression. Okay, that would be a variable that has a value in it. Now let's say we want that from number 1, 2, 3 till 10, we want that there should be cases. If I enter 1, it should show me something. If I enter 2, it should show me something else. On 3, another thing. On 4, another thing, right? So how to implement that thing? For that, you just pass that number in the expression, and you'll be making cases from number 1 to 10, okay? Let's say there could be a possibility that the user does not enter numbers from 1 to 10, then you can have a default case as well. Okay, to handle it, what it will do, if it does not matches any one of the conditions, it will directly go to the default one and it will execute the statements. So I guess you would be eager to understand switch case, so I'll directly go to Eclipse now and will implement switch case. But before that, commenting all these lines once again, Control 7, not this one, and now I move on and I'll use the switch case. So I'll write switch control space and I've got my switch case statement on the top. I use it. Now it is using a key, okay? So you can define any variable integer. You can name it key as well, or anything like count equals to 1, let's say. The same example that I was trying to explain. So I'll pass count within the count. Okay, I'm passing the value, okay, the variable, and I'll make cases. Let's make cases till 5, not more than that. So case 1, if case 1 is true, it should print something like system.out.println, and it should say case 1, so that we can get to know it is the case 1. Okay, Mani has got an interesting question, that is, what if any case is true and statement in it alters some value of variable which makes another case to be true? You'll get your answer, Mani, right now, okay? Don't you worry, it won't run another case. I'll tell you why. Yeah, Mani says if like I increment the value of count, it won't run the next case because there is a keyword that we'll be using. Let me just finish the switch case and then I'll come to your question. Okay, so if it is case 1, it should print case 1. So I'll make similar 5 cases. I'll just copy this code 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I'll change the values right here. Case 2, case 3, case 4, and finally case 5. Similarly, I'll make changes right here. Case 1 is fine. I'll change it to case 2. I come to case 3, 4, 4, and finally the 5th one. Okay, so we have made 5 cases, that is, if we receive numbers from 1 till 5, if it is 1, it will print case 1, 2, case 2, for 3, case 3, like this. If it is out of these cases, that is, it does not match these cases, the number is 6. In those cases, what it will do, it will be printing default one, and let's print a statement as well here itself. That is system.out.println. I'll print default right here. So I'll write default. So whenever we give number that is not present in the cases, it should print default. Okay. Now, all of you please tell me, if I run this code, what will be the result on the console window? Everyone. Vasil, Mahvesh, Mani, Yogesh, Hardik, Sai, Sarita, Amol, Pranav, Gulzar, Ashraf, Pratyush, Rakesh. Everyone says case 1, and even I'll go with you. I'll just press Control F11. Roshan says default. Okay, he's the only one who is saying default. Now I'm running the code, Control F11, and as you can see on the console that it is printing case 1. It was quite simple, Roshan. That is, the value of count is equal to 1. We are passing count right here. It will check the value. It comes to case 1 and it will print this statement and it will get out of the switch case. Okay. Vijay say, Roshan says, okay, got it, thanks. Vijay says, is it mandatory to list the cases in the sequence? So for that, I just shifted the case 4 above case 3. So I hope it answers your question, Vijay. Does it? Please write down on the chat window if yes. Okay, Pratyush says, what if I want to put a value from keyboard? Yes, definitely you can take the value and pass in the switch case, okay? But we'll be dealing with that in the later classes, okay? We'll tell you how to take the input from the user using the keyboard, okay? Pratyush? Yogesh says how to take input from user through console. Yogesh, that is what I said right now to Pratyush. We'll be telling you how to take inputs from the user and you'll get to know. Okay. Okay then, if I change the value to 3, what now? This is the code. If I change the value of count to 3, what will it print? Yes, Kulja, you can do that. That is absolutely correct. Okay. Mavish says 3. Everyone says 3. Okay, case 3. That is quite simple. Control F11. I receive case 3 in the console window. Okay. Now, I don't know why this statement is present over here. So what I'll do, first of all, I'll change this value to 1 itself. And I'll just remove these statements or I'll just comment them. Okay, each one of them I'll comment it. And even this one. Now tell me, if I run this code, what will be the result that I would receive? You have seen that count is equal to 1 and we have case 1 right here. If I run this code, what happens? Vasil says case 1. Hardik says repeat case 1. Pratyush says case 1, case 2, all of them. Mavish says error. Rakesh says 1 to 5. Okay. Pranav says case and default. Ashraf says case 1, 2 till 5 and default. Sarita says 1 till 5 and default. Mani says case 1, 1, 1. Nikhil says every case will get executed. V says case 1 till 5 and default. Mohsin says case 1. Mani sends me something. Vijay says case 1. Yogesh says case 1 and default. Sai says does not come out of loop. Vijay says and then default without break statement. Okay then. Let's run the code and we'll get the answer. Control F11. Can you all see on the console window that is case 1, 2 till 5 and the default as well. So what can you figure out from this? Before break statement was present and I was passing the same value, then case 1 was only printing. But when I remove all the break statements, what is happening? Every statement gets executed. So what I'll do, I'll just uncomment few break statements so you can understand in a better manner. Okay, I removed till 4. Okay, I removed the uncommented 3 break statements and 3 are commented. Now tell me what will be the result that I receive on the window. Okay, I hope you have understood something till now. Vijay says, oh yes, I forgot to write like this. Rakesh says now 1 till 3. Okay. Rakesh says 1 to 3. Mohsin says 1 to 3. Mani says 1 till 3. Pranav says 1 till 3. Adik says 1 till 3. Nidila says it will show only the first 3 cases. Okay. Lavi says case 1 to case 3. Mahesh 1 to 3. Vasir says 1 till 3. Gulzar has a different answer and he says case 1 till 4. Yogesh says case 1 to 3. Rakesh also says from 1 to 3. Roshan supports him. He gives the same answer. Abhinav says 1 to 4. And Sarita says 1 to 3. Nikhil says 1 to 4 case. Even I'll go with 1 to 4. Okay, Nadila says sorry till 4. Okay then. I just run the code, control F11, and I receive case 1 till 4. Why is it so? Because these 3 break statements are actually commented. It executes first case, that is for sure that count is 1, it comes to case 1 directly, executes this one, moves on to the second one because this break is commented. From second it comes third, even this is commented, comes to fourth, but after fourth it encounters a break statement and it gets out of the switch case. Okay. Okay, Sai says, hi Vineet, sorry to disturb you. I'm leaving the session as I have my part-time. I'll go through the remaining session. Thank you for your innovative teaching. Thank you again. You're welcome, Sai. You all will be receiving a recording of the class. You can go through that. Money says, if there is, Sai says, cheers, Sai. Money says, I guess if there is no break statement, it takes all the statements under same case. Not like that, okay? It does not take in the same case, but what it will do, it will execute the rest of them. We need a break statement so that we can get out of the switch case. Pratyu says, what if I put 1 directly instead of count? What it will show? It will always... Okay, Pratyush, I've done the same thing. He's saying that if I place 1 right here, what it will do? It will do the same thing. As you can see. Nadila says same thing, exactly correct. Rakesh says still 1 to 4, exactly. So I hope you have understood the break concept, why we are using the break statement. Because it is important to understand, using break statement, you are actually getting out of the switch case construct. Athiyu says thank you. So all of you please write down on the chat window, are you all clear with this part? Are you clear with how to use a switch case construct? Everyone. There are many people. Yes, Rakesh, you can put up. Okay, I receive all the yeses and Nadila says it is similar to C. Yes, it is. Similar, C could be considered as the father of other languages, right? That was the first one of its kind. Okay. Rakesh is now about out and then comes, can I put the expression and in case like 3 class 4. Okay. Let's test it out. Okay, Rakesh. Rakesh wants that. Let's say for 2, second case, he wants to put 1 into 2 like this. Okay, so that is completely fine. Rakesh, it is the second case. 1 cross 2 is actually 2 and I'll change this switch to 2. Okay, it should directly, if there is a case for 2, it will print case 2. So does that answers your query, Rakesh? I hope it answers. It will directly go to 2. He says yes, so that's good. We'll just get back to the presentation once again. And now we come to operators. What are operators? We now know how to store values into variable, how to define values using data types, and we know certain constructs like if else, switch case, and different things. Now, you saw that we were using certain operators while we were using if else, like greater than, less than. What we were doing, we were actually comparing the values of the variables, right? You can do different tasks using operators whenever you have to perform different operations that are present in the real world on your values in your applications, then you'll be using operators that are defined in Java. Now in Java, operators has been defined into different categories like assignment operators, arithmetic operators, relational operators, logical operators, unary operators. So these are the 5 categories into which the operators has been divided into Java, in Java. Okay. Now we'll discuss each one of them one by one. And before that, let me just check, do I have a question for all of you? It's been a long time since I have asked a question from you. Okay, the question is right in front of you. Which one of these is not a primitive data type? Is it int or is it integer with capital I, short or long? You just have to click on the polling screen right in front of you and cast your answers. Everyone give me answers. Which of the following is not a primitive data type? 63% of the people have answered. What about the rest of you? Okay, Pranav, Ashraf, Rakesh, you all are correct. You just have to click the answers on the screen. Please do that. Gulzar says submitted. 74% have answered. Please guys, hurry up. Everyone give your answers. Rakesh says done. 78% have voted. Okay, then I guess this would be it. 14% of the people says that the first answer is correct and 86% says the second answer is correct. And again, I'll go with the audience. That is 86%. The second answer is correct. Integer with a capital I is not a primitive data type. Okay, int is a primitive data type. We'll be knowing functions of those operators later, right? Which kind of operators, Money? No. We'll be discussing these operators right now. Okay, we'll be covering the complete operator part today itself. We still have got half an hour, right? Are you in a hurry? Money says okay. Now Nikhil says, can you define primitive as well? Primitive data types are those data types which are used in C languages, for which you do not have to use the new operators. Okay, these data types are actually referenced using the classes. Pratyu says, is there a bitwise operator? Yes, we have a bitwise operator. Okay, Hardik is saying, sir, can we have a 2 minutes break? So all of you please write on the chat window, do you want a break? And then we'll continue. Do you want so? If yes, like, okay, Pratyush, Gulzar and Nikhil says no. Mohsin, Pranav, Amol, Vasil says yes. What about the rest? Give me a tiebreaker. It is almost equal. Irfan comes with continue. Sarita says no. Ashraf no. Sarita continue. Avino yes. Mani says it will be good. A break. Yes, Om, that's true. The later versions also accept string as well. But just the later versions, but you will be developing your application for all the versions because every system is not updated to the latest one, right? So if you use a string in your switch case, then it will definitely cause errors in those systems which are not updated. It won't work. Gulzar says, please sir, no break. So guys, we have got very less time left, so I think we'll have to continue. And since most of the people says that we should continue, I'll have to do that. Okay. So I hope the rest of you do not mind. Hardik says okay. Okay then, great. Moving on. First of all, assignment operator. What is an assignment operator? It is used to assign a value to a variable. You have already seen that you declared a variable integer x. After that you wrote x equals to 5. What was that? You were using a assignment operator to assign a value 5 to the variable x. Okay, so I hope it is quite clear. Whenever you have to assign a value to a variable, you'll be using the assignment operator like x equals to 5. Okay. We come to the second one, that is Java provides 8 arithmetic operators for addition, subtraction, multiplication, division and modulo like this. Addition is quite clear, to add a number, like you have got two variables x equals to 5 and y equals to 6. And if you write x plus y, then we'll receive a value that is 11. Okay, so whenever you have to add the values of two variables, you'll be using the addition operator. Similarly, for the subtraction, for y equal to 5, x equal to 4, you write y minus x, then you'll receive a value that is 1. Multiplication will multiply the values of the variable. Division will divide the value. Modulo. Can any one of you tell me what is the use of modulo function? Please write down on the chat window. If I write, if x equals to 5 and y equals to 2, remember it, x equal to 5, y equal to 2, and I write x modulo y, what will be the result that I would receive? Okay, Ashraf says 1, Gulzar says that gives us the remainder, Pratyu says 1, Rakesh says remainder, Rahiba, Irfan, Yogesh, Pranav says 1. Exactly, we'll be receiving the remainder. So when we write 5 modulo 2, it is 2 2s of 4, and we are left with a remainder that is 1, and we receive it as the output. Okay, now we are done with modulo. Nikhil says the slash operator performs integer division or floating point division. It does both, Nikhil. You can do that. Okay, and most probably it will do it doing the floating point. It will always give you a floating value. If it is an, like you do 3 divided by 2, it cannot be done, so it can give you the, okay, no, it will give you an integer value. Okay, Nikhil, I just got confused in a bit. It will give you an integer value. If you write 3 divided by 2, it will give you 1 instead of 1.5. Does that answer your query, Nikhil? And if you want, I'll just show you on Eclipse right after this. Okay, just let me know if it is clear to you. Now we come to the increment operator and the decrement operator. What is an increment operator? If I write x, x is a variable which has a value 3, x equals to 3, and if I write x plus plus, what will be the value that I'll receive? What I'm trying to do? Nidelia says 4. Gulzar says also we cannot use modulo with floating numbers. Okay. Now tell me the answer. If I write x plus plus, what is the meaning of that? X is equal to 3. Lavi says it means that x equal to x plus 1. Exactly, x plus plus is you are actually incrementing the value of x by 1. Okay. Similarly, with the decrement operator, you are actually decreasing the value of a variable by 1. Yes, Nikhil, you are also correct. Sharita says x minus 1 for the decrement one. That's absolutely correct. Yes, Nidia says x plus plus is corresponding to x plus 1. Exactly correct. Okay. Now, there are two ways in which you can use the increment and the decrement operator. The first one is you can write x plus plus, or you can write plus plus x. If you write plus plus x, that actually means it is the pre-increment. Okay, you are doing the pre-increment. And if you write x plus plus, you are doing the post-increment. Okay, there is a difference between that. Can any one of you tell me? Anyone, first of all, have you understood the pre and post increment? And if yes, what is the difference between them? Gulzar says it will print the value of variable first and then increment if you are writing x plus plus. Okay, Vijay says post and pre increment. Gulzar says yes, exactly, that's what he's trying to say. What about the rest of you? No idea, give it a guess. Anything. Lavi says pre is plus plus x and post is x plus plus. That's good. Nadelia says, can you give an example? Definitely, I'll give you an example. Don't worry. Let me just have an input from your end. Vijay says, yes, it is like C. Yogesh says, agree with Ravi. And what did Ravi say? There's no Ravi right here, Yogesh. Pratyu says x equal to 5, y equal to x plus plus, y equal to 5. Okay, for post, it will increment after execution. Mani says that absolutely correct. That is. Sarita says print the value before incrementation if you are doing pre-increment. Okay then. Yogesh says pre is plus plus x. Now let's see in Eclipse. Now first of all, I'll explain what is pre and what is pro, what is the difference between them. Pre actually means that it will first increment the value of that variable and then only it will use it in execution. Okay, but if you're doing post increment, that means it will first use the value in execution, the previous value, and then it will increment the value of that variable. I'll just show you using the if else construct. Quite simple. Okay, you'll understand easily. So I write, first of all I declare a variable that is integer s equals to 3. Okay, and what I do, I write a if block. Okay, I'll check. So I write s plus plus. Okay, I'm writing s plus plus, or you want, let's start with pre-increment. Okay, I'm writing plus plus s, and I'll check whether it is equals to 4. Okay, I'm checking this condition. I come here, I'll just print out a statement, system.out. I'll just print the value of s itself. Okay, I just pass s in that, so it will print the value of s. Now this is another way. If there is only one statement in the if block, you can just skip the brackets. Okay, that is the braces, or you can place it like this, one here and other here. This was the format, but if there is only one statement, you can also write like this. Okay, so I hope it is clear to you. Now all of you, if I run this code, what will be the result that I would receive on the console? Gulzar says condition will be true. Okay, what about the rest of you? Gulzar says 4 will be printed. What about the rest of you? Come on guys. Lavi says 4, Mohsin says 4, Vasil says 4, Pratyush true, Rakesh true, Mahvish says 4. Okay, everyone is saying 4. Okay, let's run the code. Control F11 and I receive 4. That means pre-increment is actually incrementing the value first and then using it. Okay, now what I'll do, I'll change it. Let's make it post increment, s plus plus this time. Okay, now tell me what will be the result that I would receive. Please write down on the chat window. Okay, Pranav says no answer. Okay, you think so? Abhinav says false. Pratyush says else is missing. No, it does not matter even if you do not place a else block. Okay, Pratyush, I have explained this before as well. Rakesh says false. Mani says nothing. Gulzar says it will exist. Hardik says 4. Vasil says no answer. Abhinav says no answer. Om says nothing will print. Vijay says false. Hardik says 4. Mahvish nothing. Pratyush says nothing. Lavi says error. Sarita says nothing. Yogesh says 4. Mohsin says the correct answer, and I won't tell you right now. Rakesh says yes, agree with Om. Okay, I'll go with Mohsin. Mohsin is saying guess 3. Let's print it. Okay. Okay, no, it won't print anything. Even I and Mohsin were wrong because the condition was false. Okay, it won't increment. Why? Because it is the post increment one. It actually used it in the execution and it found that 3 is not equal to 4. It goes out. Now let's check whether it has incremented after the post increment or not, after the execution or not. So I'll just print the value outside. I'll just copy the same statement, Control C and V. Okay, now when I run the code, you'll find that 4 has been printed because first of all, no Sarita, it won't print 3, it will print 4 because it was the post increment. While execution, it used the previous value. That is what I said. It will use the value in execution first, the previous one, and then only it will increment. So it used the value first. Previously, we did not have this statement, so it was printing nothing. I comment again, Control F11. Okay, and I received nothing because it used the value in execution and then it printed, but after that we were not printing the value of s, but now we are printing it, and I press Control F11 again and I received 4 because after execution it incremented the value of s and then it encountered the statement that is system.out.println. It prints the value 4. Is it clear to you, Sarita? Mani says our brace is not required for else. We are not using else part, Mani, right here. And this is another syntax. Okay, you can place your braces. That is fine. But I was trying to tell you one more syntax, that is if you have only one statement in the if block, you can just remove the braces. Okay, Sarita says no. Can you please tell me again? I'll do that, Sarita. Sarita, I was trying to explain. I will just comment this line. That is, sorry, Control Z and okay, I am commenting this line right here. Now when I run this code, what is happening? We are post incrementing the value of s. Okay, it should increment and it will increment, but the condition is in post increment it will first execute it. Okay, it will first use the value right here. Yes, Rakesh, that is what I am explaining right now. That is the expression. Now here what we are doing, Nadelia says s will become 4 but it will show nothing. It will become 4 obviously, but not here once it has executed this statement right here. Okay, once it executes the statement right now, when you write s plus plus, this is one expression, one statement. Okay, now when you write s plus plus, it will first take the value, the previous value of s first, and it will compare it with 4. 3 is not equals to 4, that is why it was false. Okay, now it found it false, so it won't execute the if block, and then it will increment. Then now it will use the plus plus operator and increment the value of s to 4. Okay, till right here after it will increment the value of x will become 4, and now it is printing the value of s right here as 4. Is it clear now, Sarita? Please write down on the chat window if it is true. Okay, Sarita says yes, clear, thank you. Pranav, can you just rephrase your question? Just elaborate it. What is SOP? There is no default case, it will show error in such case. Pratyush says, no, Pratyush, even if there is no default case, it won't show any error. Is that clear? Pratyush, you can try it at your home, okay? You'll be receiving the code, try to experiment with it. All those questions will be answered automatically. Will the value of s increment after if block executes? Okay, the value of s actually is incrementing right after the expression is executed. Nikhil. As soon as it is done with the execution of the expression, it increments the value of s, and hence you receive the value of s as 4 right here. Okay, now if you use the value of s here, you'll find it true. I'll just put one more if after this. If before you were seeing that this one was not printing anything, it was giving you a false value. Now here I'll check again the value of s. So s equals to 4. Okay, I'll check the value whether it is equal to 4 or not, whether it has incremented or not. So what I'll do, I'll just run this. Okay, and I receive 4 right here. Okay, Pranav says, what if I put s++ in system.out.println? Okay, we'll do that for you. Now, he wants that I write s++. Now, I'll just press Control F11. What is the result, Pranav? It is 3, right? Why 3? Because first it will execute the expression and then only it will increment the value since it was post increment. I hope it is clear to you, Pranav. Okay, that's very good. So it's time to get back to the presentation once again. Okay, Nikhil says, please do the division sample. Okay, Nikhil. I'll just comment this part once again. Now when you will receive the code, just uncomment it. Or I'll just process the code for you and you can use it directly. Now I'll write integer x equals to 3, the same example that we took. An integer, instead of using x, I'll use q equals to 3, an integer v equals to 2. I put a semicolon. Okay, so we have got two integers, and now I'll use the final integer j equals to q divided by v. Okay, the answer is this. Okay, and the question was this, that is divided. Now he was asking whether, and let me print the statement as well, system.out. And the question was, he was asking whether it will give me a integer value as the output or the float value, because 3 divided by 2 is actually 1.5. So he's asking whether it will send me a value 1 or will it send me value 1.5. My pass j. Okay, Gulzar says 1. Nedelia says because it is an integer. Absolutely correct. So I'll press Ctrl F11. I receive 1. Now what I'll do, I'll change this value to float, or I'll change it to double anything. Now I've changed the value of this to float and I run the code again. I receive 1.0 still. Okay, no Hardik, it won't give you 1.5 because it is the integer point division. It won't give you 0.5. Is that clear to you, Pranav? Does that answer your question? And Gulzar, Hardik? Gulzar says, then it must be 3.0. Now if you change it to float, okay, this is the final example that I'm taking on this, right? Experiment at your home, guys, you'll get your answer on your own. Control F11. This time we'll receive 1.5 because we are taking the float values itself and it will do the computation as the same. But if the inputs are integers, it won't give you. Okay? Okay, Hardik says, okay, thanks, got it. Pranav says, why not 1 or 2? Why 1, not 2? Why will it give you 2? Pranav? In any case, it won't be giving. Can we obtain a float value from 2 integer values? Nedelia says. In simpler cases, you won't be getting that, Nedelia. Okay? You'll be always receiving 1 when you'll be passing 2 inputs as integers. Gulzar says, thanks. Okay, Pranav says 1.5 equivalent to 2. It won't do that. Okay, then let's get back to the presentation once again and we'll move on to the relational operators. You've already used them in your if and else construct. Sayed says, sorry, I'm late, Sayed. We are almost done. Okay, so if you can wait for another 5 to 10 minutes, we'll be done with the class. Okay, and I'll give you a few more details that has to be done before the next class. Okay, now it is used to compare two values. Binary operators and their operands are numeric expressions, right? When you have to check the value of the first variable and you want to compare it with the second one, so you can use greater than. If you want to check which one is lesser, so you can use the less than. If you want to check greater than equal to, you can use this operator. Less than equal to, you can use it. Equivalence operator, I've already used in Eclipse right now. If you would have seen that in here, right here, in this example, in the increment example, that is, we used equivalence operator. It is double equals to. It actually tells you that whether the values of two variables are equal or not. Okay, and finally the not equals to operator, it checks whether the value of two variables are not equal to. On that condition, it tells the result. Okay, so these are a few operators. These are quite simple. I leave it for you as an assignment to implement them. Okay, because we have used many of them in the examples that we have taken already. Is that fine with you? Everyone, please write down on the chat window. Nedelia says okay. Pratyush, okay, and I receive okay and yeses from everyone. That's good. Okay then. Hardik says okay, cool. That's good. Moving on, we come to the logical operators. Okay, this will take some time, around 5 minutes. Now it returns a true value or a false value based on the state of the variables. Okay, like conditional AND. This one is conditional AND operator. This is the conditional OR, bitwise AND, bitwise OR, the NOT operator and the XOR operator. Okay, conditional AND works on two conditions. like conditional and or an XOR works on two conditions always, okay? That is, you put a one condition, you put the second condition. If the first condition is true and the second condition is true, then if you do conditional AND between them, you'll receive a result true. If the first condition is false, second is true, it will give you a false result. First is true, second is false, will give you a false result, and if both the conditions are false, it will give you a false result. Okay, I'll just show you the diagram that I have for you. Open up the diagram. This one, this one. Okay, now conditional AND this. Okay, let's say X and Y are two conditions. This is the conditional AND operator. I'll explain the entire diagram. Now this is the conditional AND operator, and if you want I can zoom it for you. Quite too much. Okay, so this is conditional AND. X and Y are two conditions. So if these are two conditions, there could be four cases. Okay, that is, first one could be true, second is true. First one could be true, second could be false. False, true, and false, false. These are four. There could be only four possibilities. Okay, four conditions that could be made with two different ones right here. Now, if you do conditional AND between them, so if X is true, Y is true, it will give you a result true. If first is true, second is false, it will give you a result false. If first is false, second is true, it will give you a result false. False and false will give you a result false. So conditional AND gives you a result only when both the conditions are true. So out of the four conditions, it will give you a result in only one condition. Okay. Now we come on to the conditional OR right here. This one is conditional OR. Now these four conditions will always remain the same. Now when true and true, you do conditional OR them, then it will give you a result true. True false will give you a result true. False and true will give you a result true. Even false and but false and false give you a result false. What then? That means that conditional OR will give you a result in three conditions out of four. That is, if either of the condition is true, it will give you a result true. But in case of conditional AND, both the condition has to be true. Okay, so all of you are clear with conditional OR and conditional AND. I'll be showing you how to use them in Eclipse as well. Don't you worry. So are you all clear with it? Okay, now I'll move on to conditional XOR. Sorry, I'll move on to the XOR operator. But before that, what is NOT operator? NOT operator is actually used to complement the values. If you write not true, it will give you a value false. It will complement it. Okay, if you write not 1, it will give you a value 0. So it will always give you. Mohsin says, you can we get these diagrams? Okay, I'll give you these diagrams, don't you worry. Okay, in the mail that you'll receive the diagram as well. Now I hope you have understood what is not. Okay, so not means it will just complement the value. It will give you the opposite value of the value that you have provided. Now what we are doing, we'll try to understand the XOR operator. Now XOR operator, this is the truth table for the XOR. This is the condition and this is the values. That means if the values are alternate, first one is true and the second one is false, it will give you a true value. First one is false and second one is true, it will give you a true value. But if both the conditions are same, whether it is false or true, it will always give you a false value. This is XOR operator. Now in this entire diagram, what we are trying to explain is how can you implement a XOR operator using conditional AND and conditional OR. Okay. So this is the expression that we need to follow. We need to conditional OR two conditions, and then conditional AND them, and we need the negation of X conditional OR conditional AND Y. So this is the expression. So what we did, we computed each part separately. First of all, we computed X conditional OR Y right here. We have this result, that is 3 true and 1 false. Then we computed X conditional AND Y. That is right here. We have the result. The first one is true and the 3 are false. We complement them using the NOT operator, complementing the values right here, and we receive the values false, true, 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 because true becomes false right here, false becomes true, false becomes true, and false becomes true. Using these both results, we are conditional ANDing them. So first result was right here in red, second result is right here in red. We are conditional ANDing them and our expression will be complete. So what we did, we placed both of them right here, first result and the second result. When we conditional AND them, true and false, check this table, conditional AND. True and false gives us a value false, so I placed false right here. True and true conditional AND gives a value true, so I placed true right here. True and true gives a value true, true here, and false and true gives a value false. So we have this final result. This is the intermediary part and this is the main condition. So as the final values, you'll receive true result if you do XOR when the conditions are alternate, that is, one is true, the other is false. If both the conditions are true, in those cases you'll always receive a false condition, that is, you won't receive the output. So all of you, are you clear with this? Conditional AND or NOT operator and XOR operator. Everyone, please write down on the chat window. Sarita says clear. Mohsin says yes. Pratyush says yes. Yogesh says yes. Vasil, Amol, everyone says yes. Hardik says yes. Okay. So I'll just get back to Eclipse and I'll show you how to use these conditions. Control 7. I'll use integer count equals to 5, 1 this, and I'll be using the same variable and I'll make different conditions with that. Okay, so let's use if else. Okay, you can use condition in if else many other places, so I'll be showing you if else because we went through it today itself. Nadia says count or count. Count I have declared already in the program, so I just want to uncomment it at once. So if I make it count, it will conflict, right? It will give me an error that it has been defined twice. Nadia says okay. So if count is equals to 5, right? The first condition is true. It is equals to 5. I place conditional AND between that, and count should also be less than 6. Then system print hooray. Okay, it will print hooray, did it. Okay, all of you tell me what will be the result. Both the conditions are true. Count is equal to 5 and count is less than 6 as well. Gulzar is hooray. Nadelia says true. Roshan says message will be printed. Nadelia says hooray, did it. Pranav says print it. Okay, I received the answers. That is true. I print control F11, did it, right? Now what I'll do, I'll just make it less than, okay? I'll make one condition false. If either of the condition is false, it won't print anything. If I run the code, okay, it is less than 6. Let's check greater than 6. Now this time the condition is false. When I run the code, I receive nothing in the console window. Nothing will be printed because it only gives you the result when both the things are true. Okay. Now we move on to the conditional OR. If I change this thing to conditional OR, can you tell me what will be the result now if I run the code? All of you be quick. Okay. Pratyush, Hardik, Nidelia, Mahesh, Roshan, Amol, Vasil, everyone says it will be printed control F11. Yes, because in conditional OR, if either of the condition is true, it will give you a result. It will print something. Okay. If both are false, that is not equal to 5, let's change it. We are using not equal to as well, an operator. And I run the code. Nothing is printed because both the conditions are false. This is the only condition that in which conditional OR will not give you a result, will give you a false value. Now we need XOR, okay, the final one. There's an operator for XOR right here. You can simply use that. The expression, I just wanted to give you a concept. If someone asks you that how to implement using conditional AND and OR, so that is the expression for you. Now both the conditions are false right now. Will XOR give me a result or not? Yes or no? Sarita says false. Gulzar says false. Sarita says nothing. Om says yes, it will give. Gulzar says no. Pratyush says yes. Mohsin says false. Okay, I'll print the code. Control F11. It gives me nothing because in XOR the condition has to be alternate. Either first one is true, second is false, or the first one is false, then second should be true. If both are same, it won't give you a result. So I'll just change this not equal to equals to now. Saving the file, I run this code and I receive a result this time, that is hooray, did it, because the first condition was true and the second was false, which is the alternate condition. So all of you, are you clear with these operators? Conditional and not, conditional or, XOR. Everyone please write down on the chat window. Sarita says yes, damn clear. Okay. Yes. Masin says yes, Roshan says yes, Pratyush says yes, Gulzar says yes, Hardik says yes, Nidelia says I understand, Rakesh says yes, Amol says explain XOR. Okay, I'll just show you the diagram as well. True, true will give you a false value in XOR. True, false will give you true, false and true will give you a true, and false and false give you a false value. So what does that mean? If the conditions are same, but if both the conditions are true, then it will not give you a result. If both the conditions are false, it won't give you a result. But if they are alternate, that is first is true and second is false, or the first one is false and second one is true, in those conditions you'll definitely receive a result in the case that we are receiving right now. I placed a conditional OR operator between them. First condition turns out to be true because 5 is equivalent to 5. Second condition is false because 5 is not greater than 6. In that case, when I run it, it gives me a true value. Condition is true and it prints the value right here. Is it clear now? I guess Amol asked me the question. Amol says okay, that's very good. So on this note, I'd like to ask you a question. Okay, I've explained this right now, and the question would be, just give me a second, and it is, which one of the following statement will implement XOR operator? I've shown you a couple of times right now. Tell me whether it is the first expression, whether it's the second one, third, or fourth. It is your memory test right now. 33% of the people have voted. What about the rest of you? All of you give me a votes. 44, 48, 52, 56, 59, 63. Sarita, you're right. Anurag, you're right. You need to click on the polling screen, guys, everyone. 70%. There are many people. I request everyone to give your votes. Only 70% have voted. What about the rest? 74, 78, 81. Still 19% left. Hurry up, guys. Do something. Okay then. Out of the people who have voted, 64% says the first answer is correct. 9% says the second one is correct. 23 says the third one is correct. And 5% says the fourth one is correct. And again, as always, I'll go with the audience and the first answer is correct, right? Okay, just remember this. This is the expression, the first one. To implement XOR operator using the conditional and, conditional OR and not operator. Okay. Now we come to the final topic of today's class, that is the static versus not static variables. Static variables are shared all across the class. Okay, there is only one copy of this variable. If you declare a variable as static, that means that variable will have only one copy and that variable could be used all over the application. Okay, even if you make a change in any place throughout the application, that change will be reflected in every place wherever this variable is used. Okay, can any one of you okay, sorry, can you all hear me now? Okay, good. I was asking, can you give me a example where we could use a static variable? A static variable is the one which has got only one copy, okay, and that variable could be used all over the application. If you make a change at any place, it would be reflected everywhere wherever this application has been used, wherever this variable has been used. Amol says pi, correct? For storing the value of pi, pi is a constant value, so you can store it in a static variable and that variable could be used all over the application. That's correct. Any other example? Any other example, an interesting one? Any one of you? Okay, I'll give you one. Let's consider a company, okay, like Edureka. Nikhil says if we want to keep count of something, okay. Mohsin says formulas, okay. Now, I'll give you a very good example where it is the perfect place to implement a static variable. A company, okay, consider any company. That company has got many employees in it, okay. Each and every employee has a profile in the company, but there is a common thing in each and every profile. What thing is, the name of the company will remain the same for each and every candidate, each and every employee, or you can say for each and every profile. So what we can do, we can declare a static variable which stores the name of the company, and that could be shared by all the profiles, that is by all the employees, okay. Even if the name of the company changes in future, that change has to be done at only one place and it would be reflected everywhere throughout the application, that is throughout the profiles that is present in the company. So all of you, are you clear with this example where you could use a static variable? Please write down on the chat window. Mohsin says yes, Sarita says yes, Hardik says yes, Rakesh says great example. Thank you, Rakesh. Pranav says okay, nice. Roshan says yes. Nadelia says sure. Okay, I receive all the yeses. And what is the non-static variable? These are not shared. Okay, that means there's a separate copy for each individual variable. Okay. Now static variables cannot be declared within a method. There is a condition with static variables. You'll have to declare them globally. They cannot be present within a method. Now let's see how to use a static variable, how to declare a static variable, the final topic for today's class. So I'll just go on the top. Since it said that we cannot place it in a method, so main is also a kind of method. So I'll just declare a static variable outside it. So write the static keyword. Okay. Give your data type of the variable. Give the name of the variable. Let's say stat. Okay. Equals to assign any value like 6. So this would be a static variable. Now I'll show you how to use it in any other class of the application. So what I'll do, I'll add one more class to my project. So I'll right click, go to new, I'll go to class. Let's say this is the file2 class. File2, I won't include the main method because there could be only one method is already present in the first class. I'll click on finish. So this is our class, okay. Now let's say when you want to use that, I'll just declare a small function. Don't think about the function right now. We'll be dealing with function in later classes. So I'll just make a function to access the object, okay. So I'll just write it like this. Within this, when I have to use the static variable, what I'll do, I'll write beneath the name of the class, okay, because static variable actually acts as a property of a particular class, okay. So you need to write beneath, that is the name of the class first, place a dot. When you place dot, you'll receive options and you can find your stat variable that you declared as static. So click stat and you can assign a value to it like 2, okay, right here. So this way we are using a static variable in any other class. Okay, so this way we can use a static variable all over the application. All of you, are you clear with this? Please write down on the chat window. To call method, we need an object, so static can't be declared. Yes, Pranav, you're right. Mohsin says yes, 100%. Nikhil says, will the original value get changed? Exactly. The original value will get changed if I call the object of this class and I call this function. I'll show you. Many of you won't understand it. We'll tell you how to the concepts in the later class. I'll give you a brief. Okay. So this is a class file2. Within that I have a function and I want to call this function so that I can change the value of static variable. I'm changing the value in second class. What I'll do, I'll come here. Now to use the function in the second class, I have to create an object of my. Yes, Gulzar, I'm dealing with the static variables. Okay, so to declare a static variable, you write static keyword, integer, stat, and you assign a value. I've made a second class so that I can show you how to use a static variable all over your application. I made a function within the class. Using the function, you can run this. You can change the value of static variable. I wrote the class name first and dot, put the operator. You can write down your question home. I'll just see it, and I'm changing the value. Now once this function is called, then only it will be, the value will be changed of the static variable. So what I'm doing, I'll just come here. Now in order to call that function, in order to use that function that is defined in the second class, I'll have to create an object of the second class. So what I'll do, I'll write the name of the class, that is second class, file2. This is the syntax that has to be followed to create an object. So file2, you can give it any name. Let's name it ob equals to, you have to write the new operator. New operator is actually allocating memory in the for the object. So new, again write the name of the second class, that is file2, put parenthesis and put a semicolon. You have declared an object successfully. Now to use the function, write ob and write dot. When you write dot, you can see your function that is in second class. You click on function and put a semicolon. Now when this line is executed, it will directly go to function which is present in second class. It will change the value of this. Now the value of a static variable is 2. To check it, just print out the value of it. So I'll write system.out. I'll just write the value stat. Okay, the variable stat I'm printing. So all of you tell me, what do you think will be the result that I would receive? Okay, I receive all the 2s, so I'm running the code, and I receive 2 because in the second class the value of static variable is changing. And Sarita is saying, can we print the value of a static variable in the second class? So what I'll do, system out.println, I'll write Vineet dot stat. Okay, so I think this answers your question. In the second class we are printing the value of the static variable. Now I don't need to print it right here. Even if I remove this line or comment it, run this code. Okay, 2. Okay, I'll show you one more variation. I'll move it on the top first, and then it will change the value. Now I'll print it once again. Now tell me what will be the result. The second class, I'm printing the value of static variable first, then changing the value, and here I'm changing it. 6 and 2. 6 and 2 is the combination, exactly correct. Control F11. I received 6 first because the value was 6. It printed the value and then changed the value to 2. In the calling class, here you are again printing the value, so you got the result 2 as well. Nikhil says, why we didn't create object in file class to print stat? Nikhil, static variable actually acts as the property of the class. Since there is only one copy, you'll have to use the name of the class itself to access the static variable. Is that clear, Nikhil? Yes, main function is also a kind of static function method. Okay, your methods could also be static. Okay, Om, you can just send this query that you have right now on the support ID. I'll just send you the support ID, or I'll send to every one of you. Okay, this is our support ID. You can send your queries there if you have. I'll just go through it and let you know. Is that okay, Om? Nikhil says how to define a non-static variable. Om says okay, thanks. Sarita says okay. Non-static variables are simple variables that you declared previously without any static keyword. If I remove the static keyword, it won't be a static variable anymore. Is that fine with you now? Okay, this is the way that you'll do. Rakesh, you'll have your PPT now. Let's get back to the presentation. I'll give you an answer, Rakesh. And we come to the question and answer round. First of all of you, please write down on the chat window were the topics that were taken in today's class clear to all of you. Everyone, please write down on the chat window. Hardik says yeah, Pranav says yes, Nikhil says yeah, Sarita says yes, Mahvish, Mahseen, Roshan, Yogesh, Rakesh, Abhinav. Okay, that's very good. So everyone says yes, Mani, it is a data type. All are good, Rakesh says. Okay, that's good. So I come to the question of that was asked by Rakesh, that is, can you share the presentation of the class? Now I'll just show you the path how to come here. Now you have got your presentations present on your LMS, that is Learning Management System. Okay, so log into edureka.in with your account with which you registered. Most probably it would be a Facebook account. After you're logged in, go to My Courses, click on Comprehensive Java Course. You'll come to this page, that is the LMS. It is called the LMS because it is the learning management system provided by Edureka for you. Now here you'll see your chapters. Okay, these are different chapters. In the first chapter that you did, that is you are completed with the first class, will just unlock these modules. Okay, each and every module that is present here by today itself. Okay, so by tomorrow you can work on these modules, or by tonight you can work on them. Now you have got this presentation. These are two presentations available for you. Okay, so you can see the presentations. This is the same presentation that I took in today's class, and you have got your assignments to do. So work on these assignments. Once you're done, then you can work on solutions. You can see the solutions as well. Okay, so what we'll do, we'll just unlock the assignments for you, work on them, and the next day we'll unlock the solution, so that you can first work on that, and after you're done, then you can cross check your answer using the solution. Is that fine? Does that sound good to everyone? Please write down on the chat window. Send me smileys if yes. Okay, I received so many smileys now. That's good. Mohsin says, when is the next class? The next class will be on this Thursday on the same time, that is 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Rakesh says, that's great, and receive loads of smileys. That's good. So I hope you have understood what is the task for you now. Anurag says, okay, sir. Sarita says you have got it. Hardik says if we miss any class, can we get live class on any other day? Hardik, you'll be receiving the recording of the class, okay? So you can go through the recording, okay? Even if you are unable to understand any topic, you can come and you can send us an email on support ID and we'll help you in every possible way, okay? Pranav says nice way to share knowledge, okay? And he's sending a smiley, a laughing one. Okay, that's good. So all of you, thank you very much for being here today, for attending the entire class. Nikhil says how to get enrolled in paid Java course. Nikhil, regarding this, you can first of all send the query on support, send a request on support for enrolling yourself in the entire Java course. So I hope you have the support ID, do you? Irfan says nice practical approach. Nerelia says Thank you too. Hardik says, thanks sir. Irfan says, hands on. Nikhil says, yep. Okay, you have got the ID. Guys, send us the send the request, Nikhil, on support ID. There will be some people who will be contacting you and they'll let you know all the details. Okay. Rakesh says, really nice approach. Om says, very good presentation. We forget some basic concept of Java. Thanks for refreshing it again. Anurag says, thanks. Nice listening you. Mani says, thank you. Yogesh says, thanks. Harita says, thank you. Gulzar says, thank you so much, sir. Hadik says, is paid and free one different? Yes, there is one more Java course that is available for you. That is for the OCJP certification course. Okay, in that you'll be will be preparing you for certification, in which you'll be receiving 20 simulation tests as well, and many advanced topics also will be covered. Okay, that will be a higher version course. Amol says, very nice presentation. Rakesh says, thanks Vineet. Machine says, thank you sir. You're welcome. Machine, is this class free? This course is quite free for you, every one of you. Okay, but there is one more course that is in line, which is already present on website, will be present, and we'll be telling you, we'll be teaching, we'll be preparing you for the certification course. Amol says, when is OCJP course starting? Amol, send this this query on support and you'll get to know. And it will be starting in near about 2 weeks. Okay, this is the information that I have. For further information, you can send the request on support ID and we'll let you know. Gulzar says, is OCJP free? No, Gulzar, I'm sorry to say that. Amol says, what's your email ID? I'll send the email ID again to all of you. Okay, this is the email ID, Amol. You can contact us using this, every one of you. Okay, then you are all clear with the things that you have to do now. So bye bye all. Thank you again. And we'll be seeing you in the next class on Thursday, same time, that is 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. One more thing, right after this class, you'll be receiving a survey to fill in. Give your comments, give your suggestion, so that we can improve ourselves and provide you a better class in the future. Okay? So I guess you'll do it for me. And I receive farewell. Bye bye. Bye bye all. Thank you. Thank you for being here today.
The organizer has ended the session and this call will be disconnected. Goodbye.